Hi Akbar.
Hello, good
Hi Akbar.
morning, good afternoon.
Hey, hi,
Hi.
Akbar.
Hello, hello.
So,
Gupa.
myself, Gopkumar, and I have Joseph with me. We are from Cloud Center of Excellence team in Fab.
Okay. Hi, nice to meet you, Gopal and
Hi,
Joseph.
Akbar. Yeah, hi, Akbar.
Hello, hello.
Nice to meet you. Uh, Akbar, we saw your profile. Might be if you can give a quick intro about yourself, then from there we'll try to take it forward.
Sure. I have a total of 18 years of experience in IT. The last 5 years were in cloud and DevOps, on-prem cloud and DevOps. So the first 4 years where I was uh, ma- maintaining, building and maintaining a product which is a Linux operating system, and I was maintaining various build types for various LOBs. We used to do CI/CD using Terraform, GitLab, Azure, uh, and the last 1 year I've been working in cloud modernization, app modernization factory, where we have been migrating applications from on-prem to cloud. Can you please give me 1 second? There's too much light coming from the window. Give me 1 second, please.
Sure.
I need to adjust the curtain. 1 second. So sorry for the interruption. So that was my quick introduction. So I've created Azure resources using Terraform and using Helm chart. Used to package the Kubernetes objects. Uh, uses GitLab to create CI/CD. Um, so application has modernization that benefits like independent scalability, healing, maintenance uh, because of microservices. Uh,
Sure. Yeah, so thanks, Akbar. So this position is mainly for the Kubernetes platform. Okay. So maybe can you tell your relevant experience on Kubernetes?
so my relevant experience in Kubernetes, told you I've migrated applications to Kubernetes. We
Yeah. So what was your role in migration? Like,
pure
what are the
hands,
activities you are part of
pure
migration?
pure hands-on, pure hands-on. So right from designing the application, breaking down into modules, and if seeing if any particular tech stack need a refresh or a different tech stack altogether, different tech altogether, uh, uh, and then make sure they are ready. Each microservices can run fully using tests, functional tests, and so on. Then, as each microservice becomes ready, we deploy it onto AKS. We containerize it, dockerize it, push it into Nexus. From the Nexus, it is pulled into the AKS where they run, and I also create the databases, Redis cache, private DNS, so that it is accessible using an FQDN. Uh, yeah.
So, yeah, I want to have a more specific. I would like to ask a specific question to understand more clearly what Gopa was asking. In your current role, what is your exact roles and responsibilities which you are doing in Kubernetes space?
So
Can you be clear?
Day-to-day
exactly,
activities.
day-to-day activities. So I'm taking care of 3 to 4 application migrations. So these are Java applications. We ensure that these applications are first containerized. Again, are they ready for deployment? Is there an appropriate environment in the cloud? Uh, Create Azure resources, create the components that similar components in Kubernetes that are being used in on-prem by the application, networking, routing, security, databases, uh, deployments, and so on.
Okay.
Stateful
So
sets.
when you are saying like so that's kind of like you are working with the development team as well, and you are managing the administration part as well, is it?
I am both administration as well as working with the development team, because until the application is handed over, we take care of any issues in the cluster.
Okay. So you are part of creating the Docker image and deployment, writing the deployment files as well for
Yes,
Kubernetes.
creating Helm charts and other components, gateways, network routing, STO, uh, and so on.
So, in that case, like, what are the main best practices you will be guiding to the application team on creating a Docker image?
The best practices, a couple of things on top of my head. We are not including any, the binary that we add into the Docker image should be free of any dependencies. Only the binary is code, because it will increase the size of the Docker image. Two, when I'm creating a Docker image, I make sure I create as many steps as minimal steps as possible, because each instruction in Docker is a layer in, and it keeps growing and growing, increasing the container size. Those two things that come out of my head. So we're not using any passwords or anything in the container file. Uh, if s- if something if something needs uh, if something is needed, like another tool is needed by the application, we make sure to give it into a container itself instead of running a sidecar container. Just recently came across that one.
Oh, okay. So, I understood. Like, how do you make sure secure a container, Docker image? Like, this Docker images should not have limited access, limited controls, right? So, how do you make a Docker image with less access and privileges? Basically,
Sure.
securing
So
a
yeah,
that
yeah,
image.
securing. So one thing, when we are running that in container, we can use pod security policies assigned with the pod and container, because uh, we use pod security policies instead of container security policies, because pod security policies are better management, has more features, so we can stop the application that is running inside the container to not run as root, and we drop all the privileges that a container would have, any all privileges except the ones needed, for example file system access or network access. uh, those are two coming to my mind.
So, so, so Akbar, here, what Kubernetes platforms you worked on?
Azure, Azure Kubernetes service. I do have an experience in on-prem, but that was long back. Last
Do you have experience on Rancher, Kubernetes
ran
platform?
Rancher, no. Azure Kubernetes.
OpenShift?
OpenShift, I am currently doing a hands-on on my personal capacity, but not.
Okay. Okay. You are working mainly on cloud platform based Kubernetes,
Yeah, yeah.
which is predominantly Azure.
Yes, Azure.
How about AWS? You work on AWS?
I've worked on some in Elastic Kubernetes service, Elastic Container Service, but my big
Okay.
70% of the experience is in AKS.
Okay,
in
so
an
you're
enterprise.
comfortable on AKS mainly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So here, your role, you are mentioning you were working both as a DevOps engineer as well as infrastructure administrator. How you would provision an AKS Kubernetes cluster in a resilient, secure way? Can you explain the architecture?
Re
What all things will fall under?
Resiliency, meaning it should have high availability or any other parameter of resiliency.
Yeah, I meant it includes resiliency, fault tolerance, all these things in place. How does this architecture looks like? Can you break down and explain?
Yeah, so fault tolerance, we could have one cluster in one region, another cluster in another region, and we can have uh, same application on both the clusters, same application versions on both the clusters, and a load balancer that would, on the proximity basis, would route the traffic to the uh, closest cluster, and that would cover the fault tolerance, because it's a managed service. So the architecture components are managed by Azure. If it was not a managed service, uh, then we would have multiple master nodes, and we would also back up the etcd, and we'll also have redundant APIs. No, only one API, but we will back up etcd. Uh, for
Yeah, so here,
resiliency.
why we go with, can you tell me, because you're already using AKS mostly, why we use AKS here, and what exactly are the components of AKS? Can you explain the Kubernetes components of AKS and
Yeah,
key terminologies used there?
yeah. So as you said, AKS is a managed service, so we are only concerned about the orchestration part. Management is already done. So management meaning, uh, in AKS, the master nodes are called system nodes, sys node pool, and the worker nodes are called sy- uh, worker node pools. Just node pools, just node pools. Uh, so master nodes will have the Kubernetes components, uh, yeah, just like I mentioned, scheduler, controller, etcd, API. Worker nodes, sysnodes will have kubelets, kubeproxy, uh, containerd, container runtime, uh, network
So
stack.
master nodes, how you manage master nodes in AKS? Can you explain me how you manage master nodes and how you will establish the sync between the sets in the master nodes of AKS? Can you explain?
So master nodes AKS is a managed service. So master nodes are managed by Azure only. Uh, we only manage the applications orchestration. Uh,
Okay, okay. So these master nodes, how you do you have access to this headset nodes and all? How you manage that? How you take a backup? You mentioned you will take a backup of
that was if
headset
I
and
was
all.
managing an on-prem Kubernetes. I would take backup. So backup could be creating a redundant disk, snapshot disks, or for primarily snapshotting the disk, or because it only saves the delta version of the main disk, and that would how I would backup, and also create
Okay.
another etcd, another master node, and etcd has some very advanced features of replicating across master nodes, more than
How do you take how do you upgrade? What strategy do you suggest and recommend to upgrade Kubernetes cluster,
rolling
AKS Kubernetes cluster?
rolling update, because one master node, we take it down, drain it of all the pods, and then we update it one worker node at a time.
Okay, which node pools, what kind of node pools you use?
Linux node pool system version 2 D5 with 10 GB RAMs and so 500 GB disk.
Okay. Okay. What CNI do you use, Akbar?
Overlay, Azure overlay.
How many CNI types are there in Azure?
I think there is one overlay, one is I'm missing the name because overlay is better than the other options, other available.
Why are you using overlay? The reason
Uh,
behind that?
so I not researched much into networking, which mostly my job is into making sure in the networking side of things, making sure there is enough IP addresses in the subnet for the pods and these making sure services point to correct pods and the in depth of CNI I've never had a chance to work in my experience so far.
Okay, so when I deploy a Kubernetes application, if a pod is in pending state, what should I do?
Pod is in pending state could be because resources are not there on the nodes. The scheduler doesn't find
Mhm.
any nodes with applicable resources that the pod is requesting. So it will be in pending state. So we could have a cluster autoscaler configured to create a new node for us. Uh, so that's how the pending nodes get scheduled. So we have in Azure we deploy AKS on virtual machine scale sets so that it becomes easier to scale up and scale down the node pools. And then we install the autoscaler as a deployment, and that continuously it's an image it's an container image provided by Azure, and configuring that using giving it the resource group names and node pool names.
So other than in pending, right? For example, do you know how do I make? So I have two node pools,
Yeah.
okay, in Azure,
Uh-huh.
and I want to deploy one specific one application in a specific node pool. What should I do?
So we use taints and tolerance. These are like labels that are applied on the nodes as well as on the pods, so that
Mm-hmm.
they they go and get scheduled on the nodes we want. Maybe for if it's a dev application or something, then we can schedule it using taints to a node that can come and go easily, like a spot nodes, uh, which can be evicted anytime when the load decreases. So depending on the application infra, we can select which application type, we can select which nodes the application can be scheduled on.
Okay. Okay. So how about like if it's like similar to pending, if an application is going in a crash loop, what are the things we need to check?
We'll check the logs and we'll see that the application might have some misconfiguration. It needs some data, some misconfiguration that it is not getting. That is why the application is going into a crash loop.
Okay. Okay. Do you know about Readiness Pro?
Yes. Readiness probe, liveliness probe. These are the probes that we configure on the deployment object so that they can ping an application. These are all they do. They just live or not. That's what they do. These are important so that application can do self healing. When they go down, it can restart the pod and so on. It can do some corrective action.
Okay. What is the main difference between these?
Uh, liveness, other than other than their names, I use the same way.
Mhm.
We use the same way, same
Okay.
parameters for both.
Okay. Okay. So. Have you used any storage in your application?
Yes.
What kind of storage?
Uh, Secrets, empty directory, uh, config maps, PVC, PVC.
Okay. In Azure, did you use anything else like a specific to Azure or?
Yeah, secrets, AKV secrets.
How do you store secrets in AKS?
So for that we need to have the CSI drivers installed in the AKS, which will
Okay.
uh, and then we create the UAMI between our AKS cluster and the Azure Active Directory, which will provide a federation. Federation basically means small as sub entity will communicate with the higher entity authority and delegate some uh, authority or delegate some rights to the lower authority. So an AKS authority will federate with an Azure AD, which means Azure AD will give some authority to AKS and say any pods created in that service account can have my blessings to communicate with any other Azure resource. So that's
Okay.
not enough. So we create AKS, and when we create any pod in it, so and then we create storage class objects and giving it configs such as AKV name, subscription ID, tenant ID. So it will fetch all the secrets from the AKV and present it as environment variables in the pod.
Okay. Okay. So, do you know the concept like in Kubernetes PDB?
Sorry, P
PDB,
PDB. Never heard of it.
pod description budget.
Never heard
Okay. Yeah. Have you used HPA in your
of. Yes,
cluster?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So, what are the parameters you are used in HPA?
CPU memory.
Okay, memory also you are using, is it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Can you tell me a sample configuration you did, like a use case where you did, why you did actually?
So simple. If there are more instances being created for an app instance for app pod or a DB pod, then we select the deployment based on deployment name and selector labels also. So
So just to understand, like you were saying DB, you were deploying DB also in Kubernetes cluster and you're scaling DBs as
yes,
well.
yes, yes. Skill sets.
Okay. What kind of database you are deployed in AKS?
Postgres, MySQL.
Okay. So Postgres also database also you will be scaling like based on the resource utilization or what is the
Yes, based on resource utilization.
okay. Okay.
Okay. What kind of deployment you use to deploy PostgreSQL?
Stateful, stateful sets.
Okay.
And we use a
Stateful sets,
and we
right?
use a headless service so that it can have stable DNS names to communicate with the Postgres instances directly.
Okay. So when it scales, when the scaling is happening, how you are handling data sync?
So when the scaling, there's only one master node and other more replica nodes. So the scaling and all is more of a database into more technical databases, but I can give you a rough idea. You can have one master nodes for each simpler configurations, one master node which will be accepting the writes and more other read nodes which will be only reading. So if there is any write operation in the application, we make sure it points to the correct a master node that is the right master node, which writes, which is I know you understand what I'm saying. If it's any read
Yeah.
operation, it can
My
access
question is,
any of the replicas.
yeah, my question is, if we are able to scale PostgreSQL pods, and you are saying it's a stateful set, scaling happens on which pods,
Po-
which pods of PostgreSQL?
Scaling happens on it'll create a new pod with another Postgres SQL instance, and
Yeah.
it will
Okay.
start as a replica unless we explicitly exec into the pod and make it a write master node master replica that would accept writes.
Okay. So what backend you used? What is the storage type you used for this PostgreSQL?
PVCs storages from Azure storage account.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Go
Fine.
ahead.
Yeah. It's 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. So we need to wind up this. That's it from our side. Thanks, Akbar. We'll discuss with Deepu on that.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks, Akbar.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.